What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Southern Wind Outdoors. Today we are 1 week out. It's the 22nd. Next Saturday is opening weekend. So, with that in mind, we're going to talk a little bit about my bow setup for this upcoming deer season, deer and turkey. Um, Talk a little bit about my setup, why I'm using what I am, and then a little bit about each product. In the past, I've used a Hoyt. This is my first year with Mathews. Um, Very excited about it. It's shooting great. This is the Mathews V3X, and it's 33 inch. It's a long axle to axle bow for what I'm used to, but it is shooting phenomenal. It feels great in the hand. I've really liked it so far. Not to say this will be the indefinite length and go to for me, but as of right now, it's shooting great. Running it at 74 pounds with a 28.5 inch draw. Arrows are cut to 28, and it's running great, running smooth, shooting good. I've got a stand clicker index release. It's just a standard index. It's very comfortable. That's really the only reason that I run certain releases or another. Comfortable and quiet and accurate, and this checks all those boxes. It's a pretty good release. I've tried a bunch of different ones, and that's what I ended up going with this year. For a quiver, just running a standard fuse 4-air quiver, nothing crazy. It's just bulletproof, super simple to use. It's a bolt, pop it off. When I'm in a stand, I don't have it on. Uh, so I just need something that's quick and easy to remove. And I've used this quiver for a long time and never had any issues with it. So I'm going to keep using it. As far as the sight goes, running a CBE 5-pin. Toyed around with a bunch of sights, all the way from just a single pin slider to a 3-pin stationary to 3-pin sliders, and I've never had a need to shoot beyond 40 for deer hunting. So my 20, 30, 40, as long as that's covered and I can access those quick, because when those deer come in, you got to be able to range, know your general distances, and then the rest of it is just from practice. You just got to know where it's going to hit, where your pins need to line up at different distances. And then a big deal that I like, following the arc of the arrow, you can do that really good with a 5-pin. So, like I said, it's just the CBE 5-pin, super plain, super simple, very durable. And that's going to be the whole theme throughout the setup. The rest I'm using is a QAD Hunter XT. It's just a drop away full containment rest. Had this one for about 5 or 6 years now, and never had any issues with it. Works great. It's quiet and it gets the job done. So I'm not going to change it. The stabilizer we're running is a 8-inch trophy ridge. This bow is so well balanced straight from the box that you don't even need a stabilizer out there. I like it for the sound suppression and a little bit of weight forward for me. And other than that, don't really need it for much. So it gets the job done there. I did put on this Ultra View grip. I like it. It's got the flat back on it. If y'all can see that, the back side of it's real flat. I'm a big fan of that. The way I hold the bow is like this, and I only have one finger on it, so everything holding that bow is just that forward pressure, and then I just let it fall. So having a flat back grip is really important to me. And then I like a wider back to it too, because that's the only thing that's making contact. I want it to make contact with as much of my hand as possible when I'm shooting. And then the big thing that I'm super excited about using the Mathews for is their stand system. It's pretty cool. Just clips in to the bow. Super quiet, super simple. And, most of my hunting's out of a ground blind, and this is a lifesaver. So, really cool that they have that system in there. A little bit about the arrow we're shooting. Shooting an Easton Axis 5mm. It's the match grades with the helical fletch that they put on it straight from the factory. Had a bunch of them, shot a bunch of them, loving them so far. shooting them at a 28 inch, so about a ½ inch undercut of my draw. It's what I typically like to do, give me a little more stiffness while also giving me speed without sacrificing too much on the weight. In total, it's a 479 grain arrow with 125 grain tip on it. So running the dead meat, no, I'm sorry, running the mega meat this year. This will be my first time using it. Haven't been a huge expandable guy, just from some horror stories you always hear about hitting shoulder blades not deploying, and even good shots and them not deploying. But I've shot a bunch in the off season, and these are performing really great. I don't see why they're not going to. And the cutting diameter you just can't compete with mechanical from a fixed blade standpoint. So that's ultimately why I'm going with it. You want everything to be as reliable as possible, but still as efficient as possible. And the biggest cutting blade you can get on an animal while still performing good without losing any accuracy, any speed, any penetration, I think is what you need to do. And it's hard to argue that with some of these new mechanicals out there. So I'm going with just plain old Mega Meat. This whole setup is with keeping in mind 40 yards is the farthest shot I even have. Can't see much past that to have a good shot angle, so that's really all I need. 40 yards and in. So all this stuff about these micro problems and stuff, don't really run into them. But it's good to know that they're at least capable of doing that, so they should be perfectly fine for what we're doing. Like I said, deer season is going to be starting next weekend. Going to go out there. Y'all stay tuned for those videos, and thanks for watching.